pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about why your sets are not lasting, what is going on with the retention, how can we fix it, what are some do's and don'ts. I'm going through the full process, and y'all already know we're going to start off with step one, which is prep. Now, a lot of you guys might be asking, what is prep? How long does it last? What does this got to do with anything? Prep is the process that is going on before the acrylic. So right now we're removing the shine, we're going to be putting on the nail tips, even down to the primer or dehydrator that you use. All of that plays a factor. Now, if you are doing your prep, but you are not getting into all these nooks and crannies, you are not making sure that the natural nails are as low as possible, I'm sorry, but your retention is going to be affected. This right here is what really sets you up for success, okay? Now, I know a lot of people talk about dry manicures and all these different bits and all this, that, and other. You don't need all that. If you're not an expert and it's hard for you to kind of shorten the nails like this without hurting somebody, use nail clippers. That's completely fine. You can use a file. That's completely fine. Just be intentional with how you are prepping the person. You want to get in all these little nooks and crannies because that hides the dead skin, and that's what's actually the cuticle skin that people talk about, okay? All this little white skin, but you need to be careful because we don't want to over prep. If you over prep and overwork the natural nail, then guess what? Your retention is going to go down the drain because now you're working on top of damaged nails. Now, we want to make sure that on top of properly removing the shine, you want to make sure that your nail tips fit accordingly. Now, you don't have to do what I did. That is glue dry spray or resin spray. It's because I'm using clear tips, and if you know, you know, clear tips are a pain in the motherfucking ass because something about that clear tip, the material it's made out of, it just does not dry well, all right? But that's besides the point. You want to make sure that your nail tips are fitting from sidewall to sidewall. If they're a little bit big, go ahead and cut the size just a little bit. If they're too small, you need to go up a size, but you want to make sure that no matter what, the well of the tip, which is, you see that indented part in the front right here where it fits snugly, that should fit sidewall to sidewall. You should not have a bunch of nail tip hanging off, and the nails should not be squeezed to fit into a tip. When the nail tips are squeezed on the natural nail, if they're too small, what's going to happen is they are going to cause problems. It's going to cause tension, and they're going to pop like a spring. Also, if the nails tips are too big, what is going to happen is that it's just going to cause you to have product on the skin, flooding the cuticles, and the shape is not going to last, which means the structure is off. Now, when you go ahead and you file your nail tips, I need you guys to keep the same energy as when we glue the nail tips on. The sidewalls got to match up. I understand a lot of girls are going to say, oh, my nails are fat as sausages. Oh, I have boy hands. Can you make the shape narrow, narrow, narrow? Y'all need to know that the shape cannot be more narrow than the natural nails itself. So I can give this client a coffin, but do you see that area right up there where the natural nail and the nail tip meet? I cannot narrow that out to the point that it no longer fits. So if you're having a bunch of gapping and issues there, then that's going to be a problem, especially if you don't know how to work around that. Okay, I'm telling you right now, your retention is going to be off. Your nails will snap. This is what prepped nails look like. We are ready for primer. You don't have to dehydrate if you've done all your steps correctly. Ooh, I need to take a breath. I'm sorry. Whew. You don't need to dehydrate if you've already removed the shine from the nails. That, of course, is a personal preference. I personally just go ahead and prime. I normally use Young Nails Protein Bond, but I'm out of that, so I am using the Gelixir primer. $7 works just as good. I do 2 coats because it's a non-acid primer, and honestly, that's what I'm used to doing with the Young Nails, so it's just out of habit. Now, if you do not prime these nails the right way, and y'all, did you peep how I accidentally knocked over my liquid? Like, I barely had any as it was, okay? But anyways, if you do not prime correctly, then what's going to happen if you skip this step is the nails are going to be susceptible to literally popping the freak off. Now, you might get lucky and have a client that has, you know, very dry nail plate and the nails won't pop off. I've done that in the past, being new and forgetting this step, but all in all, you don't want to forget this step. So now that we're here at this point, we're going to go into the next step, which is, of course, going to be application. We all know what application means. It's literally us applying the acrylic, but let me tell you where we're going wrong and where we're going right. Now, there is no perfect way to apply your beads. Well, I mean, it is, but some people like the 1 bead method, some people like 2, 3 bead methods. What we're paying close attention to, do you see how I zoomed in for y'all so you can see this cuticle work? If your cuticles are flooded, if you're not tucking the acrylic into the cuticles, which I've been seeing a lot of, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've been seeing a lot of these popular nail techs and stuff, and like nail techs that work in shops, they are not tucking the cuticle area. So you see how it's nice and flush in the cuticle area. I'm going in to make sure there's no gapping. If you have gaps, if your acrylic is kind of looking like it's floating more than anything, that is incorrect. If your acrylic is all over the skin, if it's a little bit too watery and you're not making sure you have you just need a tiny little space between the skin and the acrylic, you guys, I'm telling you, your application can mess up the whole entire retention. Your prep can be absolutely perfect, but if your application is off, if you do not have good structure in the nail, seeing as how like your apex is the right size for this particular nail length and the particular shape, if your sidewalls are not thick enough that can actually support a nail and keep it from cracking, the whole set is done. I'm telling you right now from experience. Okay, we've been there, done that. The set will be done. You really are going to have to focus in on what beads do you work with best. You don't have to do the 1 bead method like I mentioned. This particular time I did. If 2 beads works best for you and that's how you get your best, cuticle work and everything, go ahead and do that. If 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads, if that's what works for you, go ahead. The only thing I will say is you're going to want to learn to work a little bit faster, and the less beads, the better. Okay, just simply from a standpoint of time. All right. Now, you want to also make sure that you're not applying the acrylic in a manner that is going to leave the nail too thin. I don't know how many times I see this where the nail is either too thin or too thick, but you guys, you have to have a balanced structure, because if you do not, let me tell you, too thin means the nails are going to snap. Too thick means the nails can possibly lift and cause nail damage, because what happens is if the nail is too thick in some areas, you can cause a top heaviness, which means the acrylic is not going to be as flush as it needs to, and just simply gravity and injury standpoint, if you hit that nail and it's too thick, it's literally going to come flying off and it's not going to be nothing nice. So that's stuff you're going to want to keep in mind while you're doing this. I know it can be difficult. I get questions all the time at this point where people are like, my application is so good, I primed, like the nails are just popping off. You guys, the nails are popping off because of the things I'm telling you. Either your application is not as great as you think it is, or your prep, or right here, this step, your finish filing is not as good as you think it is. And that's not even to be mean. This is a learned skill. So just because the nails look good and the application looks great, if you're not paying attention to detail, things can go wrong in this step too. Okay. So mainly the things that can go wrong here is if you're not finish filing well enough. So let's say you're going around the cuticles, but are you intentionally looking like, is this sealed? Does this look like this is as flush as I can get it without hurting the person? Okay. Does this look like a balanced nail? Is the apex sitting where it needs to be sitting? This right here can also make or break your set. Okay. So if you've gone down the line and you've seen, okay, my prep looks good, check. Okay, my application is very good. No, what do they call it? No flooding of the cuticles. The product is not everywhere. Okay, good. But you're still getting a lot of lifting, a lot of nails popping off on most of your clients. Then this is more than likely the step that's going to be for you to learn. Okay, you see how intentional I'm being. You see that I'm not just willy-nilly filing for nothing just to make scratches on the nail. You need to get in all these nooks and crannies, the same crevices that you removed the shine from in the beginning when you did prep. Them is the same nooks and crannies you need to get into to make sure that the nail is filed appropriately and the cuticles are sealed. If this step is done incorrectly, you are going to note again the lifting, but the lifting is there because waters and oils and things are getting underneath the enhancement and causing them to pop the freak off. Okay, now last but not least, we still need to shape. Now this is typically not an issue. The problem is if you overfile and overshape, like I was saying, in these particular areas, look, the nail is gonna crack and it's not gonna last. If you overfile the sides, the nail is not gonna last. I know that seems probably like the least advice I can give, or you can brush it off and be like, oh, I don't do that. But if you look on the sides of your nails and you have gapping and you have areas where the nails just inconsistent in the sidewalls, okay, I'm sorry, but the nails are done. I know, I hope this video doesn't come off harsh or rude or mean, but you guys, this is just stuff that I'm noticing as I'm browsing online, as other people ask me for advice and interacting with me. I thought it would be a good idea to give you guys just literally some advice on how to make these sets better. Where are we going wrong? These are common mistakes. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff that takes at least 1.5 to 2 years of consistent taking clients to make sure they are well. Okay, this is the final results. I really hope this video helps anybody. You guys leave me comment suggestions. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe. And as always, y'all know I will see you guys in the next freaking video.